When we think about planting our bulbs in the fall for bloom in the spring, we usually think of tulips, crocus, and daffodils, but there are many bulbs to choose from, and we're going to give you just a little bit of a bulb primer right now. Now, one of the first bulbs that you'll notice in the spring is Glory of the Snow. This had 6-petal star-like flowers that are usually a soft violet blue with a white central zone. They grow about 6 inches tall and are one of the first spring bulbs. You'll notice these showing up with your crocus in the spring. Another early spring flower is the spring starflower. It has 1-inch star-shaped flowers that have grass-like leaves that actually smell a lot like garlic when they're crushed. The flowers are a rich, deep blue, and they bloom for a long time during the spring. Now, if you're looking for a bulb for a shadier spot, you might try planting Scilla siberica Spring Beauty. This has beautiful dark blue flowers that droop and are in the shape of stars. The bells hang in loose clusters, and it is one of the more shade-tolerant bulbs. This has actually been around a long time. It was introduced into the trade in 1939. Another great spring flowering bulb is the Pushkinia psiloides, variety Lebanautica. It also is Scilla-like and has starry pale blue to white flowers and dark blue stripes on it. These are clustered at the top of 4 to 6 inch stems, and they also appear early in the year. Now again, this bulb can take sun or light shade as well. As we think about planting spring flowering bulbs, tulips are one of the best loved. However, it can be hard to get a tulip to perennialize and come back year after year in Oklahoma. This is where the species tulips fill a very nice gap. We have several species tulips planted at the studio gardens, and one of the prettiest is the Tulipa clusiana chrysantha. This tulip actually looks red when the petals are closed with a tiny yellow edge. However, when it opens up, it reveals some beautiful bright golden yellow petals. This tulip was actually used extensively in colonial Williamsburg and was introduced into the trade in 1607. It blooms early to mid-season. Now, there are 2 cultivars of this tulip that are very similar, and these are Peppermint Sticks and also Tubergen's Gem. They both again have the nice red petals on the outside and then open up to reveal petals of yellow on the inside. Now, a tulip that is very tolerant of our hot baking summers is the Tulipa saxtalis. In fact, it actually likes a hot summer better than a cool one, so that's good for us in Oklahoma. Now, this tulip has a rosy pink petal on it with a nice yellow base, and is actually quite low growing, only 6 to 8 inches tall. It likes poor soil, a moderate winter, and a hot summer, so this should be the perfect tulip for Oklahoma. A similar looking tulip, and also one that is just as tough, is the Tulipa bakeri lilac wonder. This has a pinkish lilac flower, again with the bright yellow center that shows up from a distance. It blooms mid-season and grows 6 to 8 inches tall. The Tulipa clusiana cynthia has bright red petals with a chartreuse edge and a dark purple base. This blooms mid-season and gets to be about 8 to 10 inches tall, and the pointed petals form a very nice star. The Tulipa wilsoniana also is a nice deep red tulip with a very small black base and yellow anthers. The foliage on this is interesting too. It's kind of a blue-gray and an undulating foliage, and sometimes there is a red edge. Now, this is a later blooming tulip, so you can extend your tulip season by planting some mid to late season blooming tulips together in the same bed. Our last group of bulbs that also needs to be planted in the fall are the alliums. These are the ornamental members of the onion family, and while the foliage does have an oniony smell, the flowers don't. Allium effludens is a very nice one with round purple flowers that are 2 to 3 inches in diameter. This blooms in late spring and grows to about 26 inches tall. If you're looking for a really nice large allium, try planting Allium giganteum. This has 5 to 6 inch diameter bright purple flowers that make an excellent cut flower for your flower arrangement. We hope this bulb review primer will kind of help you in your selection of spring flowering bulbs. While it isn't time to plant bulbs yet in Oklahoma, it is time to get them ordered. And you can check at your local nursery or garden center, which should be getting their bulb shipments in soon. And also you can mail order these spring flowering bulbs from several different places. Now there are a lot of catalogs that sell spring flowering bulbs. However, here's 3 that are really good to help you get started. The Daffodil Mart, also Ben Burgundine, and McClure & Zimmerman are all 3 very good catalogs for ordering bulbs from. Now again, I said it's not quite time to plant our spring flowering bulbs. The prime time to plant them in Oklahoma is in October and November. In fact, I know a lot of people that use that Thanksgiving weekend to plant their bulbs, and that's a really good time to plant them here in Oklahoma. Well, since we're talking about bulbs, I've got one of our edible bulbs here in the herb garden, and that is our garlic chives. Now garlic chives are again an allium. It's Allium tuberosum, and they're closely related to the regular chives that we have, but there are a few differences. And one of the first differences that you note is that our garlic chives are actually blooming right now in the fall. This is a good thing to think about if you're putting in a garden that you want to have some fall blooms. Think about putting some garlic chives in. They have beautiful white allium looking blooms on them that are just now starting to open. Now these will go ahead and open up and be nice white balls, and again, they don't have an onion scent. In fact, it's kind of a faint violet or rose type scent, and they make a very good cut flower. Now as we look at the plant here, you'll notice that they actually bloom on about 2-foot tall stalks, but the overall plant most of the year is about 1 foot tall, so take that into consideration when you're planning where to put this. It could actually go towards the middle of a flower bed or even towards the front, but it would be covered up by taller things. Now the other difference between our garlic chives and our regular chives is as you look at the leaf, you'll notice that the leaf is actually flat, whereas regular chives have a leaf that is round. This is flat, and it also, instead of having an onion smell to it, has more of a garlicky smell. Now these are very nice, again, to chop up and use fresh on anything from the top of your baked potato to using them in a dish or to add substance and a little bit of flavor to any kind of soup that you might have. You're going to harvest them about the same way as you would regular chives. You can just come down on the clump and clip them off about 2 inches. You can either cut them or just break them off like I have. If you're cutting more, you could bring your clippers in and take a few. Now chives don't really freeze well, and sometimes people don't have a whole lot of success drying them very well at home, so just harvest what you need and use them fresh. The other thing is you wouldn't want to harvest the entire clump at once because you want to leave some leaves on here to go ahead and feed those roots, but you can use a few of the chives at a time and use them in dishes very well. Now again, I was talking about chives. They are in the onion family, and they are actually a bulb, and you'll notice here it looks a lot like a green onion when you pick it, and down here at the base you can't really tell that there's much of a bulb there, but that is basically what the chive looks like down below the soil. They like the same kind of cultural conditions that regular chives. You need to plant them in a sunny area with well-drained soil. Pretty much the only way that you can kill these is to have them in an area that's not well-drained, because their bulbs will rot. Now, the one last thing that you want to think about with these is they have beautiful flowers in the fall. You're going to want to clip those flowers off before they go to seed, because if you don't, you'll have a whole lot of garlic chives around your garden. Over here we've already got some from last year that have started. We've got some seedlings, and they are very prolific if you let them go to seed. So just clip off some of those flowers and use them in a flower arrangement, and then you won't have to worry about chives taking over your flower bed.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. You can also find more recent videos on our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.